Hi students, we are on our last exercise of this module, exercise 2C. I want you to launch Photoshop and open the last file that we worked on for exercise Ps2b. Make sure that your layers panel is showing, and then go ahead and note that there's the adjustment panel as well, which is still in view. And then go to your window history to view this panel. Window history. You'll be surprised that this panel is quite awesome. Arrange this panel along with your layers. I want you to work on this and kind of make it into a group. So if you hover, there's this little blue line that happens, and then your panel kind of goes transparent. That's when you know you can let go. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing with the adjustments, and of course I might have to drag. If you hover over here, you can make the panels open and close. So that's sort of, I want you to get used to how that works. Okay, I'm going to now go and drag this over the top of the adjustments. Now we have a little grouping of panels here. All right. Next we're going to do is we are going to save our workspace, and I'm going to kind of hover over here. I'm going to make this work for me, and I want you to do the same, kind of work on how some of these work. I'm going to close the color. I'm going to shut down the swatches. You can drag until they're just icons. So the other thing I want to do is pull open properties. We won't use properties yet. So now I've got my history, layers, and adjustments all kind of viewing. And what I want you to get used to is just the flexibility and the awesome ability to manage your workspace. And we're going to save this. So next thing you want to do is go up here next to this little workplace switcher area. It sort of shows you almost like a miniature icon of a workspace. You want to click on it. Okay, and then I want you to go ahead and go to New Workspace. All right, Workspace, and then you're going to save the workspace with your name, like Christy's Workspace. All right, and you, whoops. All right, there we go. And I want to keep the keyboard shortcuts, the menus, and the toolbar just like this. Of course, you can adjust this like however you like, and then go ahead and say save. It says the custom workspace already exists. Do you want to replace it? I did this before, obviously, so I'm going to go ahead and say yes. So I said yes. I wanted to make sure that I had that workspace free. And then, of course, you want to make sure that it's still there. Reset Christy's Workspace. So if I'm working on a project, what's great about that is if I mess up my panels and I'm working on a project that requires that I have the similar panels that I had earlier open, then I can just reset it back to the way it was. So that's really key and critical when you're working at a company that expects you to be efficient. Okay, the next thing that I'd like you to work on is to multiply from your layers panel. One or several of these, I'm going to go ahead and multiply the text layer. Just so you know what multiply is, it's in your blend modes, and you can find them, I believe you can find them in many different areas, but we're going to go ahead and do it here. Multiply is right here. Multiply takes into account, if I zoom in, the background. So you notice sort of this pink is becoming a little more purple. It's because it's merging with the blue in the background. And some of you might be able to see it a lot more than you can see it here, but it allows your top layer and the layer below to kind of combine together. So do a multiply on one of your layers, and then I want you to adjust the opacity of that layer to 30%. So I have that same layer selected, I did a multiply over here in the blend mode. And then here for the opacity, I'm going to select 30%. So it's very light, okay? All right, so go ahead and we're going to save our file. We're going to save that to your last name underscore Ps2c. So just change that very last one on there. Make sure you save all of these. Okay, say OK. Next thing, choose one of the top 2 layers in your layers panel, and we already did that. Go ahead and save it. We do not flatten, and then next we want to go to our layer options in the layers panel, and now we're going to flatten. Discard hidden layers, say OK. So we saved it as a PSD, but now we're going to save it as a JPEG to submit. And everything else I told you not to flatten. This time I want you to flatten, and I want you to do File, Save As, and then Photoshop. You can go ahead and bump down to JPEG, and it automatically changes the format up there. Go ahead and say Save, say OK. That's the one I want you to submit for last name underscore Ps2c. Okay? Great work, this module. I'll see you in the next video.